As I am headed into birthday season, literally my mom, my brother, my dad, and my fiance all have birthdays in the same month. I was thinking a lot about just birthdays and just things I've been hearing from clients and friends about their birthdays this year. And some of the comments that I hear are, it's just a birthday. My birthday is shared with a holiday, which I understand. My fiance's birthday is on July 4th, which is this weekend. And oftentimes they'll say, I don't want to burden anyone. I'll ask, what are you doing for your birthday? I don't know. I don't want to burden anyone. There's not a plan, And I also hear a lot of times people saying like, well, I wish people would celebrate me and they should just know that I want that. To sum it up, usually I just feel like people are feeling hurt, but people feel forgotten and they feel like nobody's really making an effort. And it's usually not about the birthday. It's not about the cake. It's not about the gifts. It's not even about having a big celebration. They don't want a party. Well, sometimes they do. I will say I had a friend ask me, can we have a party this year? And we gave it to her. But I think what people are grieving isn't the lack of like the balloons or the party decorations, they're grieving what the birthday represents. And for many of us, a birthday becomes this day every year where we silently ask ourselves the question, am I important enough that someone thought about me without having to ask? It's almost like birthdays, at least for me, become a reminder about our importance within a relationship, as it's the one day a year that's about you. And our brains will start collecting this evidence, who remembered my birthday, who texted me, who forgot, who made plans, who showed up, who didn't, who put in the effort, who seemed excited to celebrate me. And if the answer doesn't match what we were hoping for, that can hurt. Feeling hurt on your birthday also does not mean that you're needy. It doesn't mean that you're asking for too much. Birthdays, I think, activate something much deeper. They activate our need to be seen, to be chosen, to be remembered, to have evidence that we mattered, to be celebrated. And for some people, birthdays can also become emotional if you grew up feeling unseen. Maybe your parents forgot important moments. Maybe celebrations were always about something else or someone else. I know with my friends that are twins, and I was friends with a pair of triplets, that they felt that way sometimes. That, I gotta share my birthday with my twin. Well, my dad's a twin, so he also went through that. He never really got his own birthday. So maybe you learned as a child that you had to earn attention instead of simply receiving it. If any of this is your story, then your adult birthday isn't just a birthday. It's every younger version of you quietly wondering, will someone choose me this year? Now, I do think that there's a really important piece to all of this, though, right? Like, most people don't want to tell anyone what they want. Instead, they're like, oh, they should just know I want to be celebrated. If they loved me, they would just know. I shouldn't have to ask. And I completely understand where that comes from, because if you spent your life longing to feel chosen, asking can almost feel like it doesn't count. It doesn't count if I have to ask you. You want someone to do it because they wanted to, not because you reminded them. But I will tell you, I have had to get uncomfortable and let go of those beliefs to let my fiance know, especially in the beginning of our relationship when we first started dating, as well as my friends, that I like to be celebrated on my birthday. It makes me feel seen. It makes me feel loved, to see some type of effort. I love waking up on my birthday knowing that I'm going to have something there. And it's not about the item, you know what I'm saying? I mean, sometimes it is. Not this year because we had too much expenses going on, but the last 2 years, my fiance planned me a trip to Costa Rica. And then the year before that, he planned a trip for me to St. Augustine, which was super special because I'm very type A and I plan for everyone around me. So to have that done for me was just, it was about the trip, it was about the trip. But it also was the fact that like I just could show up and it was done. And I've never had that happen to me for me before by anybody. except my parents maybe when I was like 7 or something like that. Of course they planned my birthday party, I had to pay for it because I didn't have money. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, it was nice to be seen in that way. But he's also that type of man, and I knew that when I got with him. But still, I'll tell you what, he's not a card guy. And I told him one thing of me, that a thing that I also like is I like cards that have like sweet words in them. Like I like to hear how you feel about me. I have this like notion that I feel like we will give people their flowers at a funeral and say all these good things. I'll never forget about it. When I was 21 years old, my best friend died, and that'll be another story for another day. But I remember just sitting there and seeing everybody give her flowers, and like literally and figuratively, right? Like everybody's saying all these nice things about her, including me, and I'm like, we never really told each other these things. Like I don't think she ever heard these things for some of these people, so yeah, anyways, that got off topic. But what I'm saying is that I like that in a card. I know some people it's just a card, but I like hearing those words. So I told them, hey, on my birthday, I like to have a card with some nice words about it. Don't force it, but it's nice. I now wake up to flowers and a card, and sometimes a trip. Like I said, this year we just did dinner and a concert because we didn't have enough. We have to have a lot going on this summer, but again, it's not about that. I enjoyed it just as much as I did the last 2 years because it was the effort. You know what I'm saying? Like, he got me a certain type of flower. And even with friendships, like them just showing up for me the way that they do on my birthday, whether it be a little gift or a phone call or a voice note. Like, some of them just send me voice notes, and I love that. I love hearing their voice. That means more to me than you just sending me a text message, happy birthday. Like, it's just, it's the effort. It's the effort and how it can make someone feel that really matters, Do they show up if I make a reservation for dinner? Is there a card? Is there a cake? Is there whatever it is? All of us are different, But I was just thinking too that with my fiance, something else he had to learn was that if you take me out to dinner for Valentine's Day or my birthday on the weekend because we work during that day, then you also need to get me flowers or a card or something on the day of my birthday or Valentine's Day. And I know to a lot of people are going to see this or hear this, and they'll be like, girl, you're high maintenance, this and that. I'm not though, because I do that for people in my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do that for them. So, yeah, anyways, I do ask him to do something for me. And he has no problem doing that, but I had to tell him because he grew up doing birthdays differently. And I'm sure other women he dated before me also did things differently, or maybe they didn't care about their birthday, and I do, you know what I'm saying? So I had to teach him how to love me as well as my friends, and all of that. I do feel like sometimes unspoken expectations can become painful disappointments, and that doesn't mean that your hurt isn't valid, if people don't show up for you. But I do feel like people can't meet needs that they don't know exist. So this isn't to make the excuse either, because I know that some people generally do not put in the effort. Some relationships are one-sided. Sometimes the people in our lives will repeatedly show us that they don't prioritize us, and that is extremely painful. And I get that, because that's happened on my birthday every year with at least one of my friends, and it hits me, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, like I showed up for your birthday, just making you feel so loved. And again, it has nothing to do with money or none of that, because you could have just sent a card, a voice note saying, hey, Stephanie, thinking about you today. It's not about that, But before we immediately decide that no one cares about us, I think it's worth asking ourselves a different question. What was I hoping today would prove? Because that's the question that I do ask my clients or friends when they are upset. I don't ask them, well, what happened on your birthday? I mean, I guess I do. I ask them that a little bit. But like, to me, the main question is like, what did your birthday mean to you? What were you hoping today would prove? Because underneath almost every birthday disappointment is a much deeper fear. It might be, do I matter to people? That's mine. Am I lovable? Am I worth it? Would anyone choose me if I didn't show up for them, or if I stopped trying so hard? Am I only important to you when I'm taking care of you, or I'm doing things for you. You know, those are the places where healing actually begins, when we figure out, what does this actually mean to me and why is it so important? And for me, it is because, I don't know, I'm trying to think where that originates from. So probably somewhere in my childhood, but like, people showing up for me is so important to me. It is like the most important thing for me, for people to do, is to show up when I have a celebration, or if I need you when I have support. Like, my cat died last year, I needed my friends, my family, they showed up for me. Like, that means more to me than anything. So it's not about, like, you know, planning a bigger birthday next year, but more so about understanding why it hurts so much, and also starting to ask. And here's something else I think that's worth thinking about, that if you've spent years looking to other people to decide if you're worthy, birthdays can also become incredibly emotionally loaded. One forgotten text can suddenly feel like proof you don't matter. One canceled dinner can feel like evidence that you're not important, when in reality, those moments often tap into beliefs that have been there for years. A side note, I'll tell you, this year I had a girlfriend of mine who, great friend for so many years, and she did not do anything for my birthday this year, which was really strange. And I felt a certain way about it. And instead of sitting with that, I asked her about it. She and I just realized that it was like a miscommunication thing, that she had sent me a Christmas gift, and she's like, you know, Christmas is more important to me, so that's why I send you a Christmas gift instead of a birthday gift. And I said, well, I prefer birthdays over Christmas. So now what we decided for next year, just in that conversation, we're like, you know what, if you feel loved by that, and again, this is not about gifts, so don't get it twisted, okay? It's not about gifts, but it's the principle, right, of like what makes somebody feel loved. So we decided that next year, this upcoming year, like for Christmas, I'm going to give her a gift. And for my birthday, she'll give me a gift, because she cares more about Christmas than her birthday. That means more to her to receive a gift on that day. And again, it's like, it wasn't even a big conversation. It was a 5-minute conversation. And we were like, okay, yeah, we're going to do this. Like, this is what we're going to do for each other. I hear you. I'm going to fix it. That's it. Moving on. But I had to bring that up to her, my feelings, you know? So I guess my whole point of this is, you know, this is about healing the part of you that has been waiting to feel seen. Maybe wants to feel seen. Maybe you've been waiting for that your whole life. So if your birthday hurt this year, I don't want your takeaway to be that it's about gifts or it's about any of that. You know, it's about that you're not needy, or you're too insensitive, or I guess it'd be too sensitive. Instead, I just want you to get curious about, what does your birthday represent to you? What did you hope it would prove? And what younger part of you might still be waiting to hear that you matter? Because when we understand that, we stop judging ourselves for wanting these things, for wanting people to show up for us. And we start listening to what they're trying to tell us. So, and this can go for any celebration too, by the way. It doesn't have to be a birthday. It can be baby shower, bachelorette, you know, you have a housewarming party and people don't show up, you know. It can be for literally anything. Maybe I need to make a video about how to even ask. But if this resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Have birthdays always been emotional for you? Or did they become difficult after certain experiences or relationships? What do you want your birthday to look like this year? What do you want it to look like this year? Are you tired of, you know, being secretly resentful that nobody does anything? Maybe do you need to find new community that does celebrate you? New family, you can't really choose your family, but new friends or new community that does celebrate you. What do you need this year? Do you need to maybe, you know, directly tell the people in your life how to celebrate you? I would love to hear it. And I read every comment, and my hope is that you'll realize that you're not as alone as you might feel in this. I feel even weird right now talking about it, because I feel weird talking about it, because I feel like people are gonna be like, girl, it's just a birthday. But I hope that you get the bigger picture. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.